Hey, I'm Paul, and today we put together 75380, which is the Moss Espa Podrace diorama, and this is a great model. This is a moment in the film, as you know, when Anakin decides he's just going to go for it. He risks everything, and it changes the course of his life and lots of other people's lives too. We're going to do a time-lapse build of this. You can have a look. The instructions were very concise. There are a lot of pieces in this, but it actually was really easy to put together and a lot of fun, and building it from the ground up is great. So I can't wait to get started with you. We'll come back with my favorite parts of it at the end. Here we go. Some things that I especially liked about this model. Number one is the fact that it does have this great shape to it, but it does give this incredible 3D quality to it because the models are actually on these invisible little stands. We've seen them used in other Lego builds before, but I think they're particularly effective in this model. One of the other things that I really like is the fact that it is actually really solid. I didn't expect that, so I thought this might be a little more fragile. It looks fragile, but it's actually really not. It really does hold together. I do especially appreciate the fact that these 25 years of Lego Star Wars bricks are actually attached to this diorama. We've had a couple of models throughout this year where this has just been a separate piece that sits on the side. And just as a collector, as someone who's a fan of Lego and Star Wars together, I like to have everything associated. I think that's great. The last thing is there were a couple of really incredibly clever uses of parts. These snowshoe paddles for part of Anakin's Podracer engine they're really clever. There were minimal amounts of stickers, which I find really great. The instructions on where to place these got a little bit squirrely sometimes. I got a little ahead of myself. I tried to, while I was building one side of this engine, thought I knew what I was doing and built the other one at the same time, and the builds are actually a little bit different. So that is my tip to you if it helps you when you're building it yourself. And if you have this set, you know what I'm talking about. I think it's great that we sort of see these representations of Anakin and Sebulba. Again, it's part of microscale. They didn't really need to include that, but I think it really makes it a lot of fun. And of course, we have our amazing quote at the front. Remember, concentrate on the moment. Feel, don't think. Use your instincts. Isn't that great advice? This is one of those builds that you have all these really small pieces and they come together to create something larger than the whole, which I think is really cool. Microscale might not be my favorite thing because my hands are so large, but I love the way that it looks and I love being able to see everything come together. I hope you did too. One of the things that's always impressive about these dioramas is the way that they use the space. So this one in particular is my favorite, actually, of many of them, because it actually looks better in real life than it does in the box art, I think. And this angle gives you a perspective here. You've got Anakin's Podracer sticking out of the edge of the frame as well, sort of breaking the fourth wall, if you will, which I love. You also get a chance when you're turning it around in real life, you get a chance to see these cool angles. So you get to actually have a narrative feel to it that you don't get just looking at it from the front on, which I think makes it really interesting. It is finished on the back to some degree. This reminds me, if you've ever been to Disneyland's Cars Land, the side that you see from the parking garage kind of looks like this. I don't know if that's an Easter egg, but it's one that I'm going to say it is. This moment in the film represents when Anakin takes his fate into his own hands and really does a leap of faith and tries something brand new for the first time. So that can feel really stressful. If you want to hear us talk a little bit about that while we build this same model, that video is also on here. Either way, I hope you come back and see us. I loved building with you, and in the meantime, you got this.